What is good with the YouTube? It is your boy, Sean Rock to the aka Lil Nicky V6. Rep is in We Thrive HGBM because every day it is vital for us to thrive. And I am back again with another video. And in this video, I'm going to talk about going from monk mode to honk mode. So for about 6 to 8 months, I went completely celibate. No social media, no porn, no sex, no dating, no communication, no relationship. It was just purely me, myself, God, a journal, reps, sets, books, work. That's it. And during this period, I would say it was probably the best period of my life. Um, it really catapulted my understanding of who I am. It heightened my sense of love for myself. It really helped me to heal from the majority of, trauma and, relationship issues, family issues. The majority of these things, I got a bunch of clarity during this time. But the most important thing that I got from this time was the joy, the joy and the how could I put it? What's the word I'm looking for? Just the liberation of loving yourself. Like when you learn to love yourself, it it just takes life to a different level because the battles that you have, like they're so easy to recognize and it's so easy to understand what's going on because it's only yourself to deal with, right? So you're able to see through your own crap and it's not difficult. So that was like the dopest thing about it, was like the loving myself. So I took a brief break and I call this honk mode because I went honk mode, right? I've been out here for like the past 2 months doing my thing, still doing a lot of the same things I was doing when I was in monk mode, but I done caught some bodies. Caught some bodies, if you want to know what that is, means I've engaged in some romantic encounters, had some experiences, went on some dates, multitude of different women, engaged in all of the the attention that I had been receiving, because I received a multitude of attention during my monk mode season. Like there were women everywhere trying to, talk to me, get my attention, validation, that whole thing. And I was just like, nah, it's not good. So I spent the last 2 months engaging in that. And the first thing I can say about it was that it was fun. It's definitely fun. I had a lot of fun doing it. The experiences were fun. Um, that's the first thing. The second thing I could say about it was that the majority of people, the bulk of people that I engaged with, they definitely could see that I had did a lot of work on myself and I understood myself clearly, and there was not a lot of room for game plan and manipulation and different things like that, because I had set boundaries, set structures, set ideas about what I wanted to do. So it was definitely a different experience compared to in the past, because I just matured and just was more groomed. So that was like the second thing. The third thing was that I felt that it was a bit of a waste of time, honestly. And I feel that monk mode was much more effective, and I'm looking forward to kind of going back into that based on the fun and excitement not really being all of that, right? And then the benefits of what I seen from people's response to my newfound love for myself was just too powerful, right? to just not really go into a complete level of leveling up. So I'm pretty much getting on my feet, establishing myself, building my brand, building my work history, building my own self into the best version of myself. And I feel like, why not go until I feel completely there? I feel like I've made some great strides. I've learned some new tools. I've, done a lot of self-discovery, but I'm definitely like not even scratching the surface to where I would like to be as a man, as a whole, because you have two different portions of a man, right? You have the internal things and then you have the external things, right? My main focus is who I am internally. Like, that's what matters to me the most, because the reason why that matters to me the most is because who you are internally is going to essentially um determine how your life is, right? Because circumstances and everything can change. Like, you can lose money, you can lose limbs, you can lose lives, you can lose health, you can, anything can happen. So who you are internally has to be solid, right? Because if you're not solid internally, if these things are taken away, what do you have, right? Like, I love calisthenics and would love to do it to the day I die, but Lord forbid, what if I break an arm, break a leg, get shot, uh, get a disease? All of these things are very well possible. So if I'm unable to do calisthenics, am I still going to love who I am as Sean? So the internal work is more, I feel like I need to do a lot more internal work to be the best version of myself. And then the external work, I feel like there's a lot more that I need to do, right? I feel like I've discovered my look. I know how I want to dress. I know how I want my hair. I know how I want my face. I know how I want my body. I know what type of cars I want to drive, what type of homes I want to live in. I have a great understanding of how everything is externally, and I'm nowhere near there. I'm working towards it, but I feel like there's much more to do. So let's just give the pros and cons that I know a lot of people will want to know. The pros and cons from Monk Mode and Honk Mode. The pros of Monk Mode to be is you'll develop a sense of intense focus, and you will accomplish probably 4 to 8 times more than you would accomplish the other way around, being in monk mode, hands down. And the number two, you're going to love yourself way more, and you're going to appreciate smaller things a lot easier, like a meal, like work, like uh, um you're gonna appreciate things much more, like work, like a meal, like playing with kids. Simple things in life are going to seem much more impactful to your joy and to your happiness, because they'll matter more. They'll have more substance to them. So that's the third thing. Uh, you'll definitely be less distracted with women, and you'll be much more dominant, in my opinion, with women. Like, I would look women directly in their eyes. Like, I was not afraid to talk to women. I would talk to tons of women every day, even though I wasn't engaging in relationships with them. I was definitely less intimidated by them when I was in monk mode, because my testosterone and masculinity was on 10. You definitely have better focus in your workouts, in your training, in your reading, your regiments. The disciplines will be structured much better. You'll have an easier time with work, because you don't have so many different things distracting you. Like, you don't have people calling your phone, texting you, asking you questions, blah blah blah. So you just be a much more productive man. And I think you definitely, one of the biggest things that I discovered about Monk Mode is like you have to deal with your pain a lot more. You can't really hide behind it, because like, smoking a black and mild, or having a drink, or going to have sex, or eating pizza, which I still ate pizza, but I'm just saying, like, doing it out of like emotion, uh it definitely suppresses those battles that you have and makes it easier. But in Monk Mode, when you deal with them battles, like, you have to find a way to actually address it. And for me, addressing it would always be like journaling, praying, meditating, or working out. And I found that those methods are definitely a lot harder than just like smoking a black or something like that, but they definitely have helped me to heal on a much deeper level compared to like the little superficial quick fixes that I could create or was more accustomed to, but still left me feeling empty, vulnerable, and all of that. Now let's talk about the pros of Honk Mode. The pros of Honk Mode is like you kind of get, you're having fun. I think that's like the biggest pro. Like, you're having fun, you know, having a plethora of experiences. You're engaging with like a multitude of different women. So you're talking to different women, you're dealing with different women. It's fun. It's exciting. Another pro is you get a sense of validation for what you've done, right? So you're getting constant validation. A lot of people are giving you props for all the work that you've done, whether it's working out, whether it's the money you made, whether it's something you've purchased, whether it's just all of these different things. You get a lot of benefit. You get a lot of validation, free validation and approval for those things. You kind of get to shine a little bit when you're in Honk Mode. Another pro I would say is that you kind of do get to take a little break and relax and kind of like enjoy the fruits of your labor. Because when I was in Monk Mode, like, it was like completely go. It's still completely go, but in Honk Mode, it's like you get to take a break, have a meal, have someone cook for you, rub your back, and kind of kick up and stuff like that. So let's get into the cons of Honk Mode. The cons of Honk Mode is totally distracting. It's totally distracting. And though you will be productive, your productivity will definitely drop, because you will be dealing with a multitude of personalities, and you'll be dealing with a multitude of distractions. You'll be meeting more people's needs than your own. So, you know, people will be questioning where you're going, what you're doing, why you're doing it, because have to be attentive to the people that you have relationships with, right? Like, you don't just get to deal with people and don't have any type of accountability or relationship with them, even when technically it's just a dating situation or a casual situation, right? Like, you're still going to get a ton of engagement, a ton of questions. Like, you're going to have to deal with people's insecurities, people's needs, and different things like that. So it's a lot of that, and definitely a lot of distractions. Another con is that it can kind of defer you from your goal, because it can kind of make you believe that you're already there, because all of this constant validation that you're kind of getting, it kind of can go to your head and puff your ego up and have you thinking like, okay, cool, I'm in a great space. So yeah, another con is, in a weird way, um, being engaged with a multitude of people for some reason makes you feel much more lonely. You would think it would be the opposite, right? Like, because I was like completely in solitude by myself, and I didn't feel really lonely at all. But since I've been in Honk Mode, and I'm like hanging out with friends, hanging out with different women, uh, meeting people back on social media, talking to various different people, I feel like in that stage I felt much more lonely, right? In the company that I've taken in, I feel that you're giving a lot more, which is the fourth kind, is like you don't, it's not a free pass. You end up giving a lot more, right? You end up giving a lot more of yourself. So if you're not putting stuff in, like if you're not receiving stuff in, which you're really not, because your your attention is like split up, you're going to end up giving out more than you're getting back to yourself in time from like your journaling, reading, or diarying, or whatever that you do to kind of keep yourself afloat. So that's definitely a con. The cons of being in monk mode is that people will perceive that as weakness, right? Like, so let's say if you're in monk mode because of a relationship, or you're in monk mode because uh you're trying to get your finances together and different things like that, people will perceive that as being passive, or they'll perceive that as you being weak, or what I would say is they will perceive that as you're like tucking your tail, right? Like you're afraid, or you're allowing others to win, or something of that nature, right? Like you're not, if you're not on social media, then people will feel like, oh, you're not on social media, they feel like you're giving up, right? Or you're done pursuing your dream. So that's one of the biggest things with monk mode, is that people perceive it like that you're quitting, or that you're giving up, or that you're hiding, and that you're afraid of reality, when in my personal opinion, I feel like it's the exact opposite. But that's definitely one of the cons of monk mode, is that you're going to have to experience people questioning your motive, or experience people perceiving you as passive or weak when you're really not. The second con of monk mode is that it does get a little bit lonely, but then it kind of doesn't, right? So you feel lonely, but in that loneliness, even though you feel lonely, like I feel like you learn to deal with the things that is underneath that loneliness. So it's kind of like a con, but it's a benefit too to it, because you are lonely. Some nights are hard, but you're discovering things about yourself that you've been like suppressing. So that's another con. Um Another con is that you can appear crazy in a way, because you begin to talk to yourself a lot. I One of the habits that I developed from being in what I call monk mode is that I talk to myself a lot. I process my thoughts out loud. And once I got out of monk mode, I couldn't discontinue that, because that's how I was processing growing within myself. It's like talking to myself, having a conversation, because I'm in a very deep, intimate relationship with myself. That can be perceived as crazy. Another thing can be perceived as crazy is some of the things that you experience and do when you go in monk mode. When I went in monk mode, I start to fall in love with like just yelling, music, battle cries, being loud, being obnoxious, being over the top. And in society, that does not work. So you will definitely be perceived as crazy. So there's the pros and cons of both. In my opinion, monk mode is like 10 times better, even if you go in hunk mode, right? If you're just doing no fat instead of the semen retention and stuff like that, I think that it's ideal to go in and out of monk mode for the rest of your life, or have versions or days or times of that. I think I'll always do that, because I feel like loving on yourself and learning yourself and dealing with yourself and staying abstinent from sex from time to time, and definitely abstinence from orgasms, is just some of the most powerful things that I've ever done. And so I'm going to go back into monk mode, maybe like a variation of it, depending on how my dating life goes. But for the most part, I think that I feel like once I get settled down and stuff like that, I think I'll go back into full-fledged monk mode for a little while, because I feel like it supersedes any of the benefits that hunk mode in my opinion, has produced, and Honk Mode has produced a lot of cons, a lot more cons than I would like to have. And I expected this, but I didn't expect it to be this dissatisfying, right? Because you would think that running around, getting buns and doing this and doing that, getting validation and having all these different people calling your phone, you would think that it would be much more satisfying, but it's definitely not. So hope that helps, man. Remember, uh, dream bad, dream big, work hard, live great, don't stop. It's your boy Sean Rock to the. I'm out. Peace.